So, Mark, thanks a million for joining me this morning to have a chat about the Golf Digest Ireland Top 100. You were previously a panelist on the committee that ranks the courses, so I'm interested to find out about that. But before we get into talking about that particular list, Padraig Harrington said some very complimentary things about you last week, in particular your short game. I've seen your short game up close, and basically give you anything from inside 100 yards is pretty much the way it is. What are your memories of Padraig's short game? Because I've heard you say before that, you know, Padraig has the best short game that you've ever seen. You've obviously played on teams with him. So what would you say back to Padraig about his short game?
Yeah, I think Padraig admits himself that even when he was an amateur, his short game was better then than it is now, even as a pro. He was exceptional. I actually witnessed it up front once because I played against him in the semi-final of the Irish Championship, and with 5 holes to go, the match was level. And in the last 5 holes, he outshorted my game. He got up and down 5 times in the last 5 holes to beat me on the 18th. So, yeah, he's an amazing player, but I wasn't bad in those days, but even then, I think Padraig might have been better.
Well, that's very kind of you to say so. I'm sure he'd say something equally kind about you. So just move into the Golf Digest list that has been recently published. Some great courses on it. We certainly know the superstar names. I want to talk to you in a little bit about, you know, some of the courses that might be lesser well known. But before I do, when you were a Golf Digest panelist, what was the process that you went through to submit your rankings? How did that work?
Yeah, the way it worked, there was about 6 of us on the panel. We'd meet at the start of the year. At that stage, all the golf courses would have been contacted. So then we divided up the courses between us all. And we generally went to about the top 10 golf courses through the year. And in addition to that, we might go to a certain location. So one person might go to Kerry, another person might go to Donegal and play all the top rated courses up there. There was various criteria. It was, you know, condition of golf course, scenery, difficulty of golf courses, many reasons for it. And then we'd meet at the end of the year and we'd basically come up with our top 100 from there. And we really concentrated on the top 10.
Sure. Yeah. No, I can imagine that that's the case. So the top 10 are well established and well known. So what I thought might be interesting to speak with you about this morning is the 10 that aren't in the top 10, but that in your educated view are worthy of mention. So in no particular order, we might start with the first course that you've selected that, you know, arguably could be a top 10 course, but isn't. What's your first course, Mark?
First course I've picked is the Island Golf Club, which is only about 10 miles north of Dublin City. In addition to being a good golf course, it's only just outside the top 10. They've designed 5 new holes this year, which are just open. I've been invited down to play them, so I'm looking forward to that shortly. It's a demanding links golf course, so you know it's more suitable for guys single handicap or just above that, because it's quite tough, but a good golf course.
Sure. And any favorite hole there?
Yeah, there's a few good holes on it. I'd say there's a par 3, the 13th, which is about 200 yards. And you hit over Malahide Estuary there, which is a great golf course. Obviously, if the wind is blowing, it's really tough going.
Sure. Very good. Yeah, no, absolutely. The island is a stunner, but as you say, not for the faint-hearted. And I'm sure with the changes, it's not going to get any easier. So what's the next course that you have that isn't in the top 10 but worthy of them?
Yeah, I've picked a few courses up in Donegal. So this one is Donegal Golf Club, probably better known as Murva. And myself, I have fond memories of it because back about 30 years ago, I won a few events up there. So it's funny when you have good memories, when you go back to it, I think you always, you like going back. It's you know, nothing spectacular. It's just a lovely links golf course. And I think one feeling you get is when you're playing it, you almost feel you have the course to yourself. You know, it's so peaceful and very scenic.
Yeah, that's always a great sign of a great golf course, that you feel like you've your own kind of private game going on. That the great courses tend to be like that. So you mentioned other courses in Donegal. So what are the other courses that you think are worthy of mention?
Yeah, Rossapena, and they have 2 golf courses, and both very good golf courses. One is an old style links course. It's called the Old Course, designed by Tom Morris. And the other one then is a more challenging links golf course. It's only there about 20 years, Sandy Hills, but a great mix. I mean, you know, if you wanted to play 36 holes into one day, you have a great mix of 2 different types of links golf courses.
Sure, absolutely. No, I agree. They're both great, but you know, challenging, and especially when the wind blows, which it often does in that part of Donegal. Any other Donegal courses on your list of worthy mentions?
Yeah, again, Ballyliffin, 2 great links courses again. One equally as good as the other. They played the Irish Open there about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago.
That's right.
And I remember Ewan Murray was really raving about both golf courses. Very scenic, great views, and 2 really good tests of golf.
Yeah. Any special memories from being there in your own playing days, or your own?
No, not really. No, we didn't play too many amateur events there, but it's good to see it that, you know, the Irish Open was a great success when it was there.
Sure, absolutely. So before we leave County Donegal, are there any others that you want to mention there?
Yeah, there's a few other good courses there. Nairn and Portneuf, again in Donegal. So I mean, you could have up to 6 to 8 golf courses to play in Donegal itself, all links. And I believe there's a bit of work going on in Nairn and Portneuf as well.
That's right. Yeah, Gil Hans, the internationally renowned designer, he's done some work there in recent times, and I haven't been myself since the changes have been made, but I believe they're spectacular. So it was an already great golf course, so I can imagine they brought it to a new level. What about Port Salin?
Port Salin, yeah, again a very good course, very highly rated by Paul McGinley. And always an enjoyable course. There's one hole there, is a spectacular hole, the second hole. About 450 yards. You're driving over the sandy beach, and then there's a hazard in front of the green. So, I mean, for most people, you walk off there with 5, you're happy enough. But again, a very good test.
Very good. So what are the other courses that you want to mention?
Sea Point, which is next door to my home golf course, Baltray, or better known as County Louth. It's a very good test. And one thing I think when you play Sea Point is that you always feel it's in great condition. So again, you could play 36 holes there. You can actually walk from one course to the other.
Sure, yeah. Absolutely. And any favorite hole in Sea Point?
Sea Point, a few good holes. 17th is probably one of the best. Short hole, about 180, 90 yards, right along the sea. And if the wind is blowing, a tough hole.
Yeah, for sure. So what any other courses that, I don't know how many we've mentioned at this stage, but I'd asked you to pick 10 that you thought were worthy of mention. So probably through most of them now.
There's one course actually which I haven't played, which is a bit unusual to comment, but it's just that so many other people have mentioned it. It's called Carn. It's over on the west coast near Belmullet. And again, I've been asked to go over to see it. I believe it's spectacular. The scenery is incredible. And it's a very old style golf course. So I'm looking forward to going there.
Well, I think you've just talked me into organising a trip over there. So we should do that sooner rather than later. I think you may have a soft spot for Cowcrow Wood. Did I hear you mention Copperwood as one of the?
Yeah, I've two non-links golf courses in these 10. Conquerwood is one of them. It's right along a lake, and I mean, you must play at least half the holes, either along the lake or hitting over the lake, and some spectacular holes. If you get a good day up there, I mean, it's great venue. Hole up there particularly I like is the 10th. You're hitting away from the clubhouse, and you hit a drive, and if you're about 250 yards up the fairway, you've a fantastic second shot down a hill and a great view. Definitely a hole worth remembering.
Absolutely, they've had some big events there in recent years as well.
All right. Okay.
And they had the Irish seniors there in recent years, and I believe some of the kind of lesser pro tours as well. So
yeah, I think the Euro Pro Tour has played an event there.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned another parkland course that you wanted to include. Which one is that?
The only other one I suppose would be Loch Earn, which was designed by Nick Faldo. And I remember it was opened by Rory and Darren Clark and a few other guys. And again, if you're traveling, say, from Dublin to either, Donegal or up the northern part of Ireland, it's definitely worth a stopover.
Sure, absolutely. No, it is. It's a fabulous setting, and again, surrounded by Loch Earn and all that natural beauty of the Irish countryside. So that's a great list, Mark, of courses that less well known, but every single one of them is worth playing. And like you say, we'll have to make a trip to Cairn to check it out for yourself. It's got a big reputation.
It's a long way over there to the west coast, but I believe very well worth it.
Yeah, well, look at Mark. Before I let you go, I have to ask you about the photos that are there behind you. I can sort of make out. I'm familiar with the one on the top. That's you with some trophies, but the one on the bottom, it looks like a team photograph. What's the team?
Yeah, I was Irish captain from 2003 to 2005, non-playing captain, and there's one very familiar face in there.
And it might be a certain world #1 golfer by the sounds of things, yeah.
That's him, yeah. And he's sitting there beside me. And even at that stage, at what age was he then? About 15. You could see the talent straight away. So
sure.
Wasn't too sure he'd be world #1, but I knew he was going to be up somewhere up there,
Absolutely. And look at him, so consistent. It's probably only a matter of time before he adds the majors, and in particular the one at Augusta that he's after. So hopefully he'll get it done.
You never know. I'm sure he will, but it'd be a nice one to get to complete the Grand Slam,
Absolutely, for sure. Okay, well, look at on that note, Mark, look, thanks a million for your time this morning. That's a great list of recommendations from somebody that has the depth of knowledge about the game of golf in Ireland, in particular links golf. So that's a great list. We can certainly use that. Thanks a million, Mark.
No problem, Joe. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers.